Episode 103 of Working Class on Deercast. Ross Bigger's back.
What's up, guys? Gee whiz.
Dude, you've been gone a while. The last time you were at the studio, we were pouring concrete in our remodel.
Yeah.
We'll get this remote out of the way.
That was fun, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that fun. God damn, help me. Yeah, so, dude, it's good to see your face. It's hunting season.
Yep.
And you've been busy.
Yep. But we're kind of winding down a little bit, and I'm pretty pumped about it. So it's been a really super busy year, but it's been good.
So time of recording, it's all right. It's into the October 20s by the time this launches. Let's say that.
Yep.
And you were already supposed to be killing deer by like the 5th.
Yeah, was supposed to be.
So, but now you're ready to start killing deer. Have you hunted once yet this year?
Not a one time, but I did build some arrows last night and got my bow all tuned in, so it should be ready to go now. So
okay, let me pick your brain. Not hunting, and it's like the 20th of October. Do you have like this anxiety of like, I gotta go hunting, or do you not really? Just because it hasn't been like good yet. I mean, it's good. But
I'm okay. I mean, there's been some good days that I wish I would have been out there, but nothing's pressing yet. So I'm just, everything's kind of getting all amped up, and I mean, I was out last night. I put a couple of trees in a food plot, so I put a scraping tree and then a rubbing tree in, and was going to take some post hole diggers out, just some hand diggers, and
yeah,
I elected to go with the skid loader and
yeah,
post hole digger.
Honestly, probably better for like a deer pressure standpoint too.
Sounds like a tractor going in. They don't jump. I just
they used to
roll back
see
there
that stuff.
Yeah, left it running. Went ahead, planted the tree, tamped it in. So it went pretty good, and I think they turned out nice. But anxious to see what goes on action wise. In the meantime, while I was in that plot, all around the edges there was fresh work scrapes left and right. I mean, to be honest, the cameras have been fairly dead, but we are kind of in the October lull, if you want to call it. But
yeah, definitely. I'm starting to see scrapes pop up. I've been seeing some scrapes, but now it's like, oh,
yeah, they're working. They're starting to work them hard.
Yeah.
So
let's kind of get into it, because I want you to continue on like the path you're going here, but I want to talk about like strategy for right now and the next week.
Yep, that's right.
So
I mean, honestly, going into it, I'm gonna say I'd get on those scrape lines. I mean, anywhere you see scrapes going on, or mock scrapes, anywhere, they're starting to heat up pretty quick. And with these cold temperatures, and then looking into next week, in the 20s, of the month, I would say we're getting too close to not be on the scrape lines. Food sources right now, not a priority. I'm 100% going after where the scrape lines are at. So any fresh work scrape, that's where you need to be. I mean,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
That's where I'm going to be, I guess. So I don't know.
You can need to be wherever you want to be, but that's where Ross is going to be.
That's right.
So that's probably the best way to word that. Like, this guy knows it all. It's like, well, you can go wherever you want. This is where I'm
do
going.
what you want to do, but this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
so,
well, that's fair.
Anyway,
I'd agree with that. I never used to pay attention to scrapes as heavily. I paid attention more to scrapes the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I'm more seeing a payoff on it. You know what I mean? I guess the last couple deer that I've killed or had camera traffic on, or like notable patterns, has been kind of in and around the scrape hemisphere, if you will. Like,
that's right.
I got some heartbreak stories that are going to come out on the episode again. The fall is not going. I've had great opportunity, but it's not really going my way as of now. But it's gonna change.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stay persistent. Hard work. I'm gonna make my own luck.
That's right.
So, but yeah, I had a buck the other day hit a scrape, and we're here at mid-October and had an opportunity and fumbled yet again this fall. Humble pie. I want to cry and lick my wounds. Whole story will come out here later this week on the WCB episode. But scrapes are big. So are you focusing on rubs right now? Like, do rubs ping your brain of like, oh, I need to be over there?
No, I'm not focused on rubs, honestly.
They don't do that for me either.
No, I'm looking at scrapes, and I'm looking at how high the scrape is. I mean, the more the mature animal is, the higher the branches are. And if you got little short hanging branches, then it's probably a little guy.
Yeah.
And I can't put a camera on every scrape, so I'm just looking at the signs and just trying to figure out whether to hunt over that scrape or get close to it, and just put my feelers out there and see, is it worth going to that food plot or field where you see those scrapes and majority of them are all low hanging branches, or do you go to the ones that there's a great big work scrape and the branches are super high?
I see what you're saying.
Those are the ones I want to go after, because the higher the branches, the bigger the animal.
The car hood size. Everyone always compares them to a car hood.
Yeah.
Why is that with scrapes?
I don't know. But, I mean, realistically, you could have a scrape that's sitting there getting worked from every buck in the whole neighborhood and every doe in the neighborhood.
Yep.
And it's just a big community scrape.
Even more reason to be there, though. I mean, if everybody's using it.
It is for sure. I'm not going to say I'm not going to hunt over one of those, but I'm looking more towards the ones in the back corner. Look at where you think that big buck's coming from. This is what I do, is just look at where that big buck you think is coming from, the bedding area that you don't touch or whatever. He's in the back corner, and these branches are really high, and the scrape is just fresh worked. That's where I want to get into.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to the big community scrape when I know that I can slip in on him with the right wind, right barometric pressure, all that.
Get in tight on him and pull it off.
Yeah, and I would push towards doing that. So as far as where I'm at this time of the month, the year, the weather, the everything, like, I'm not getting too anxious yet, but I'm getting giddy. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Going back to rubs, and I guess I could answer why I don't focus on them so much, but why don't you focus on rubs?
I mean,
because it's sign that the deer was there, like a scrape was. I have my reasoning, and I don't know if it adds up, like, from a biological standpoint. I guess I'll just say my thought then. My thought is, when I watch deer make rubs, it seems super sporadic.
That's where I'm kind of leaning towards. I would say it's not. Yeah.
Like last week,
is he going to make a rub and come back and check that rub? Like,
yeah, I don't.
Is he going to rub it again on the same tree?
I don't have that impression. They might.
I don't know. I don't think so. I've never
sitting
seen
in the
that
tree the other morning. I kind of like chuckled. I was watching this deer do. It was like this balled up 8.2-year-old. It's probably going to be like one of them 5-year-old bully eights one of these days.
Yep.
And I watched him just get over this like sapling, like one of the little ones, and just shredded this thing up for like 20 minutes, and then just balled up and walked off. I was just like, it seemed so random to me.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him do it. It's like, wow, he was mad, And then he took off, and then it's like, will he do it again?
I wouldn't put money on it. I mean, he'd probably go find another sapling somewhere else and do it again.
He's pissed at that sapling, I'll tell you. But yeah, I don't get that, like, that's worth hunting over.
Nope.
Now, I will say, does it change, or I guess, think about this. Does it change when you're hunting a field edge, or you're going to hunt maybe a heavy trail coming in out of a heavy set of timber, and every 10 yards there's a rub on one side of the tree heading to the field? I think that changes.
I would say yes, and or a great big 10-inch cedar that's just tore up and there's scrapes on all sides of it. That's it. But then it goes back to what I just said, scrapes. Mm-hmm. Like I'm banking on scrapes. If there's rubs in between, sweet,
all the better. Yeah,
but I'm not gonna go hunt a rubbed tree.
But I'll tell you, though, when you go into the timber and you see a bright orange, shredded, mangled tree, you kind of want to sit over it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That does change it a little bit.
Yep.
When it's like you said, like a big cedar or whatever, and it's just shredded.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you shouldn't sit over something like that, but that would get me excited for sure. I'd want to.
Well, scrape effort to rub effort, I think we're all in favor that's always scrape efforts are always focused on over the rub efforts. But if you got both, or if you have a very prominent layout of rubs, I think that's worth probably focusing on.
Let me ask you a question. So when you find a scrape and you think this is the spot and this is where you think the big buck that you're after is, he's working this scrape, do you mess with that scrape? Do you put any kind of sense into it? Do you take a leak in it? Do you mess with it at all, or do you just sit back and try to hunt it? Or do you, and I guess the second question would be, on top of that would be, do you make your own mock scrapes somewhere within range of that, of where you would hang your set, make another scrape, and then start messing with them that way? Or do you just hunt the scrape as is?
So that's a great question. What I do,
Yep.
you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
What I do, if I find a naturally made scrape or an area that is lit up with scrapes, I won't mess with a scrape that started on its own by deer and is maintained by deer. It's already working.
Yeah.
I leave it alone. Now, do I have scrape zones that I put like a rope scrape, artificial scrape on? 100%.
Within range of these
I
natural
have
ones?
a run in the timber where there's like a four-wheeler side-by-side path down.
Sure.
And in one spot, there is a handful of them car hood size scrapes. On one end, I have a rope scrape, and more like northeast of there, kind of on the opposite side of where the natural scrapes are, I have another rope scrape. I watched and recently checked some non-cellular cameras, and I have the buck that I saw hit my rope scrape on natural scrapes and my other rope scrape.
Okay.
So he's kind of like utilizing
He's doing all of them now.
all of them.
Yep.
Now, I've had really good luck with rope scrapes last year all the way to this year. Lee got me turned on to rope scrapes, and
Yep.
I see huge benefits in it. And it depends. Some take off, some don't. I think it's just location. Like I have one doesn't look like it's been touched.
Yep.
And I have another rope that looks like you soaked it in gasoline and drug it down the highway.
Okay.
Like it's just shredded, you know what I mean? And you can just tell they've been using it. So answer is both, but I don't mess with naturally made scrapes. Like I'm not going out of my way to walk my fat ass through them.
Right. Yep. I go out of my way. I go out of my way to make sure I don't get anywhere close to them.
You do the same?
Yeah, I'm driving along in my side by side, and I'm like, "Ooh, there's
Yeah, you're not driving through them.
No,
Yeah.
But I did plant one of those, be a scraping tree, basically.
Like an artificial tree, or you're using a real
No,
tree?
it's an oak. I cut a cedar down, and I shaved some branches off so they could rub on it, and then I cut an oak down, and I shaved a couple branches off of it. But it's got big overhanging branches, and I just planted it right in the middle of that big tine, and it looks good. So
yeah,
hopefully
you'd want to rub and scrape on.
I'd want to scrape underneath that tree. So I took my shovel and I dug a bunch of dirt back and scraped it back and forth. And then I took a leak in that thing before I left.
You did?
So, yeah, I did.
Peed in it.
So, but there wasn't a scrape there before. I'm just trying to start one up.
We'll have to check in with you.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see how that works, but I have had it work before. I mean,
I will tell you, I do kind of a similar thing. If I'm brush hogging throughout the summer, I mow underneath overhanging trees on mowed paths to hopefully encourage like, oh, that spot looks open. I could rub there or scrape there.
yep.
I mean, it is where I'm seeing some of these scrapes on that path,
Yep.
but I don't know if that makes a difference if I mow underneath it or not.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to say it's worth doing for sure.
Okay. So we talked about scrapes. I think scrapes are hot right now.
Yep.
This in this like week buffer from this podcast, and then some probably.
Yep.
Probably more, But like right now, early before deer are getting ultra ruddy and whatever, and things are starting to go out. Before tactics go out the window, I think you can kind of stick to that scrape focus stuff for a while.
That's a good way to put that. Before tactics go out the window, and I've learned in the last few years is some of the last part of October seems to be the best because you're still able to use tactics. I mean, and then it just turns wild. So
Yeah.
obviously the rut goes on, and it's just they're everywhere. You can't predict anything.
Yeah.
So I do really like hunting the end of October. Now I've only killed a couple at the end of October, but October 30th has been a really good day for me in the years past as far as seeing big ones, having opportunity at big ones. October 30th is usually right on the money,
especially if a cold front, man. Here in the next week, like this week actually, DeerCast says there's a cold front coming.
Yep.
Obviously you're here on DeerCast listening, so it depends on where everybody's at in the country. You may or may not have one, but you're going to see us blow a lot of stuff off this week.
Yep.
It's like the late October cold front that everybody talks about is happening this week, late this week into this weekend. So unless it changes, my bad.
Well, I'm just thinking between that cold front and the scrapes that we've been talking about. I mean, if you're on a scrape line, gee whiz, these these big boys are going to be marching.
Someone's
going to
be there, yeah.
scrape. I mean, if you're over a scrape and it's cold front, they're not finding that doe yet. I mean, but they're just on a march trying to find.
They're swiping Tinder or whatever the kids do.
Yeah, whatever it's called. Yeah, you swipe left or right.
Except they're just smelling each other's pee until they find the right match.
That's right.
Which, maybe you're into that. I don't know. I'll pass.
That is just urine.
That's not what I would do.
That's not your game?
It's not my game. But you can do whatever you want.
Right.
You know, none of these tactics that we're talking about are...
yeah.
I won't go there.
They're not fail-proof.
They're not... Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. But I do like scrapes. I think that... But then, coming after that, the scrape thing I think still plays in during the rut to a point, not as heavily, but then it's almost like when the calculated tactics go out the window, I think you're more based on wind, terrain related tactics when it comes, because what you're doing is you're wanting to find where a buck's going to follow doe or cruise through for looking for does.
That's right. So if you think, man, this scrape I'm pretty sure is between two doe bedding areas, and it's a size of a truck hood or
it's a car hood, yeah, truck hood, yeah.
So you got this great big community scrape. More than likely, that deer, if he's off a doe and looking for another one, he's going to stop and visit that before he heads on to the next bedding area. But
for sure, I know a lot of scrape activity happens at night. If we don't bring that up point, we're going to get lashings for it. But you can't hunt at night, turns out. Oh. So yeah, I mean,
you can't.
You can't actually. It's tough without thermals. You ain't doing it.
I'm pretty sure it's hard to see your pins too, even with a pin light or a sight light. They get so bright you can't see past them.
They get so bright you can't actually see what you're shooting.
Yeah.
So you're just guessing. You're sound shooting, as I've heard that term before.
Sound shooting.
That's a term apparently. Judd's got a really good story when he worked at Farm King. He heard somebody at the archery counter that say, I took a couple sound shots, but I don't think I hit anything. So he basically admitted he heard sounds in the bushes. And he took shot into the brush.
And didn't hear the whack.
Yeah. So who knows?
Huh.
So
I guess if you're into that, that's
look out for that guy this fall. That guy is somebody you don't want to be around or hunting with. But I know a lot of scrape activity does happen at night.
Yeah.
But that's also why we're saying like first good cold front, late October.
That's it.
The chances of it being at daylight, activity, movement, whatever, are probably better than they're ever going to be in October that year. So
yeah, definitely. You put all your eggs in one basket and be able to hunt that cold front.
I'd say so.
Before you get to November, and
it's vacation day worthy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, what are we looking at? Let me pull it up. And obviously this could change and blah blah blah. But now
I'm banking on. Thursday the 26th?
I think that's what they were saying last I checked. So
we got it looks like 3 days of rain or something there. They were predicting, but either way, I'm gonna shoot for that.
Our internet's not good here at the studio right now. Okay, hold on a moment. Well, that sucks. I'm to try to have an internet failure. We're going to do a live tonight too, and that could be a problem. Let's see if we can get her to load. But what's up, Dougie? Dougie just walked in. But yeah, I think it's going to be good. It's vacation day worthy.
Yep, I would for sure. I mean,
there we go.
It's kind of your last chance before things get wild. So I would get after it and
Thursday's looking good. That's we got a drop in temps.
Yep. That's the major drop in temps and low for the day or for the week. I think Thursday's the day. Rain or shine, I'm going to be there. So.
What's interesting is there's south winds throughout the week for us. And then Thursday, it's still south. And then, so it goes good Thursday. Friday is great. We have from Wednesday to Friday, we have a high of 65, low of 49. To 2 days later, we have a high of 51, a low of 35.
There's a lot of bucks going to hit the ground.
And a hard transition from south to northwest winds.
Yep.
With rising pressure.
Mm-hmm. That spells
rising
that
pressure.
Spells dead bucks to me.
It's all next week. The forecast is looking good, boys.
Mm-hmm.
I would be getting ready to cash in some individual vacation days.
Yep. Thursday, Friday of 26, 27. I think that's the dates.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might be sicker than a dog that day.
That's why we're recording on Tuesday next week and not our normal recording day, which is Thursday. So
Yep.
That's something to consider, that is still in the time frame. Focus on those scrapes. I'd still don't overlook terrain.
Nope.
I still think it's good time, even if you're an observation sit with a chance of killing, you can see what deer are doing. Yep. Maybe you have a scrape here and there's a scrape on that edge and you sit somewhere in between and watch what they're doing. Be in there in that cold front.
And if you've got a really solid key on where the does are moving in and out of, that buck's going to be on the downwind side. So hang back just a little bit farther. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's not going to run the same trail. He'll be on the downwind side running his own trail. So that'd be, yeah.
It's getting good.
It's getting good. I'm getting crazy excited. So.
Well, what else is Ross doing besides? So say someone doesn't have a scrape. Let's play devil's advocate for our own late October tactics. If they don't have scrapes to actively hunt or get on, they don't have that sign. What would you tell somebody?
I want an easy in and out spot where it's down to a bottleneck or a pinch point of some kind that you can get in, get out, and not get caught. I don't care if it's a drainage ditch, a ravine, anything that you can slip into and slip out.
Yeah,
that's what I'd go after.
Something foolproof.
And if you don't have that, then it's
like in the Midwest is all we can speak from. So like I'm trying to think if somebody had like a big block of timber.
Yep.
I guess my method would be if you can't find any of the sign we're talking about in that timber, I would try if you don't have any edges or anything that the deer are fringe animals, any type artificial fringes or internal fringes on there, I'd be focusing on that. Big timber, you got to just scout and just know how the deer are going to use it. But
I'd almost say if you didn't have anything like that to go after, I would hang back and just watch the field. I mean,
get some observation.
You're better off instead of just tromping straight into the timber, going deep and thinking you're going to do all your scouting deep right out of the gate. I'd hang back.
It's tough.
The
question was almost, hey, what if I got nothing?
Yeah.
How would I hunt it? It'd be like, well, really, at that point, guess and check.
Right. But I would guess lightly.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah. Guess on the outside.
Guess on the outside and then
start with basic math.
Yep. I'd start with 1 + 1 and then go from there. I wouldn't dive straight in. I mean, you'll smoke your whole season if you start tromping through in the deep stuff. If you have a deep spot, stay away from it and just hunt it lightly.
Yeah. But when it's good, you got to get in there though too. When it's good.
But then I think when it gets good, I would let it get wild before I dove into the deep stuff. So,
I know what you're saying, yeah.
Honestly, wild being full rut and they're chasing like crazy. Or, like a couple of guys that I look up to quite a bit, they say that, November 6, 7, 8, those are the days to sit all day long. And that's when I'd slip ease into your deepest spot, best spot you can think of.
Yeah.
And then sit there all day.
For sure.
So.
Yeah, we've been getting some messages. I think it's great that people message us and ask us how they'd hunt a deer because we can only talk from what we know.
And every deer has a different personality and every deer acts different.
Yeah. Well, we get people, I find what gets people to not kill deer is their lack of confidence in a move and maybe not knowing.
That's a good way to say it.
But a lot of people be like, hey man, I know where this deer's bedding. Like I had a message, real nice guy. He's like, hey, I know where this deer's bedded. I know where he's moving. This. How would you go about killing him? I'm like, dude, if you know all that information, like if you know that information, you already got him dead if you can get in there.
And
if you know where he's bedding, know where he's going.
I'd go full force spot and stock. I mean, if you know all that, I would be easing towards it and
set
keep the wind in your face.
Hang and bang or whatever. But I feel like a lot of people will say, I'm not saying this person is that person, but I think a lot of people are like, yeah, this is where he beds. This is where he feeds. This is the trails he uses. I'm like, well, he's dead then.
Yep.
Like if you know all that, what are we doing?
Well, I think they're coming at you with
generic
unsurety because they're not. I mean, they've got the genuine idea of where they're at, but they don't have it pinpointed.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
To where they're like, I don't know how do I hunt this deer because I know I've seen him in this field, and then I'm pretty sure he's bedding right here. And there's a lot of pretty sure's going on.
Yeah.
So if you knew exactly,
broad observations.
They wouldn't. Yeah, broad observations. They wouldn't be asking if they really had it pinpointed.
Yeah, but I just wonder if that's like the confidence thing. I'm like, man, if I knew all that on a deer,
you do have to just grab the bull by the horns and go after it.
When you have that information,
and if you flat out blow it, it's the risk you take. That's hunting.
We touched on this on, it might have been last week's episode. I can't remember. I just had a conversation about it. Is our camera getting ready to time out? All right. We touched on this. It probably will, like 35-ish, I'm guessing. I feel like a lot of guys, when it comes to like being an educator in hunting, I feel like a lot of them fail to just be like, guess and check.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm a big advocate for guess and check. I'm probably beating it to death this fall, but it's like, if you're unsure, go to a spot that you can learn. Like, everyone will be like, oh yeah, I don't got to move on a deer, so I'm not going to go. Cause I'm like, well, you don't have to like know this buck that you have named and go in there and make this calculated move and go in and kill that one. Sometimes you just go hunting. Like, Nick Morris, just go hunt and see what happens.
Go sit a satellite stand somewhere out on the edge.
Yeah.
And just observe a little bit.
Go sit in a ground blind on the edge of a field that you never go to and just watch stuff.
Yeah. I wouldn't not go hunting. Use that as an excuse not to go hunting, because I'm not honed in on anybody. I still want to go out and see, if nothing else.
Scratch the itch.
Yeah, just get out there and see what's going on, and you might learn. And I've done this in the past. I've hunted some way in the back, just observation stands, and holy smokes, you just came out in that back corner. Come to find out, tomorrow's going to be high pressure, and the wind's going to be in my favor.
Yeah, Thursday,
and I'm going to go make a move.
Yep.
He was there. He could be there again. Now, we are leaning on that end of the month switch over to getting into crazy full rut. So, what do we want to say? The trying to gauge and pattern that animal is going to start going out the window here pretty quick.
And you get in a weird, you start chasing them and they're always ahead of you.
Right. And, he was there last night, so I sat there and then he didn't show up. But that's because he's over there. He's where you were. Yeah. or he's checking that scrape line that you're not sitting over. You know?
No, I think it's good. This is kind of a quick full of tactics related to this week type episode. I don't know how much more we need to beat it to death on what we're talking about.
We've beaten it pretty hard here. So
yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, man. This is going to be the week to go. Tell your wives you're going hunting.
Yep.
Tell your boss you're going hunting. If you can take those PVD days individually, Thursday or Friday might be the days to take 2 of those.
Yep.
And just tell the boys you'll see them Monday, and maybe you'll be gone all week hunting too if you got vacation. If you got vacation, you're going to want to be using it here coming up real fast.
And if you miss out on it, I guess you just there's always late season,
yeah, Ross. There's always late season. October 20th, and Ross is just now thinking about getting out there.
Yeah. Well, just how the dice rolls. So.
Hey, you're a busy man. You run your own biz. Well, I would say this episode is brought to you by your company, but I don't think you need any more work right now.
Don't do that. Don't do that. We're good.
Don't do that. All right. Well, look at the cold front coming up. It's good to see your face, Ross.
Yeah, good to be here.
You know what to do? Go shoot a giant. We love you. See you next week. Good luck this cold front.